fact that Viking orbiter took 2 medium-resolution images of a series of unusual objects on Mars in '76.
This thing looks like it may have been carved by intelligence.
This area of Mars shows quite strong evidence that a civilization was once there.
The face, if it is a sculpted artifact, looks humanoid.
3, 2, 1, ignition. Liftoff.
In 1975, NASA launched Viking 1, an unmanned probe to determine whether life existed on the planet Mars. The mission went according to plan, and in July of 1976, the orbiter began sending back thousands of photographs of the Martian landscape. But then the orbiter took photographs of something that seemed to defy the Martian geography. Don Ecker, the research director of UFO magazine, knows one possible explanation.
They have come forward with the hypotheses that this, in fact, very likely represents an artificial construction.
Whatever it is, the object is huge, over 1 mile long and 1,500 feet high. As to what it is, these pictures are worth thousands of words. This huge object appears to be a gigantic sculpture of a humanoid face staring up into the Martian sky.
It looked like a face to me. It looked like someone had carved a human face and placed it down on the planet.
Vincent DiPietro is a senior engineer under contract to NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center near Washington, D.C. At first, the picture was dismissed as a trick of the Martian light and filed away among the thousands of other Viking photographs. But then, DiPietro and co-worker Gregory Molinar decided to take a closer look.
There was a lot of scuttlebutt around that there was this face that was found on the surface. I went over to the National Space Science Data Center here on base and was able to go through the library and find the picture. And I was able to find that the thing really existed.
More importantly, he discovered another photograph shot a month later. This second photo showed the image of a head had not gone away. In fact, the picture reveals startling facial detail along with a huge pyramid nearby.
There was this thing which was labeled by NASA as HEAD, H-E-A-D, and it was this classical face in the Cydonia region. I guess for about 6 months I was about 3 feet off the ground, because the more I dig into it, the more I would find, and the more startling the evidence became that this was not a natural formation.
You know, there was a general feeling among scientists at this time that this whole thing was one big hoax. What changed your mind about it?
Well, I don't believe they thought it was a hoax. I think the feeling was that it was just a trick of lighting. In other words, how could someone put a face there, so therefore it wasn't a face?
While the debate continued, DiPietro continued to investigate the mysterious structure. He used a form of color enhancement called bit slice comparison to bring out new details on the face, details that raise new questions as to its origin.
In fact, by doing this bit slice comparison, we're able to find that there's sort of a cavity or a dome in the eye cavity that resembles an eyeball with a pupil in it. And another friend of mine, Dr. Mark Carlotto, found teeth in the mouth area.
This is Viking frame 35A72 that was rediscovered by DiPietro and Molinar in the late 70s. We see the face near the center of the frame. This is a magnification and enhancement of the face from that picture.
Dr. Mark Carlotto is a graduate of Carnegie Mellon University and an expert in image processing and satellite remote sensing. He has scrutinized the puzzling photographs.
I had a lot of tools at my disposal, many years of experience looking at satellite images, and I thought perhaps some of these tools, some of these software algorithms could be used to analyze and learn more about the face. Beyond just the gross appearance of a face, the eye sockets and the mouth, we see fine detail. There are crossed lines, the forehead areas. There are broad lateral stripes across the face, and a fine structure in the mouth that almost appear to be teeth.
By using sophisticated image enhancement techniques, including fractal analysis, Dr. Carlotto was able to bring out more details in the original Viking photograph.
The basis of these algorithms is a type of object or mathematical structure known as a fractal. In other words, when you look at it at different scales or resolutions, it looks the same in some sense.
When Dr. Carlotto's enhancement technique is applied to the original images, what was just a blurry image becomes a three-dimensional image of a face, a pyramid, and a fortress.
Now, when we step back, we see the face is not an isolated formation. We see a collection here to the southwest that has been termed the city. If we step further back, there are still more unusual objects in relative close proximity. And then to the south, a formation that appears to be a five-sided pyramid called the D&M pyramid.
It's been thought of by some people to be five-sided. I believe it to be four-sided, with the fourth side being totally devastated and broken into pieces. This appears to have been either wind-blown or carved by intelligence.
Despite the photographic evidence presented, NASA insists that the objects are natural and the images were created by tricks of lighting.
In fact, there are 10 images over the area. It could not be a quirk of light because it would have just gone away. It would have been a quirk and disappeared. And instead of disappearing, we found more detail.
Here we see the face in three views under simulated lighting conditions, with the sun to the northwest, a little further to the west, and then due west. And we see not only do the facial features persist over all of these views, but the expressions actually change a little bit.
But NASA maintains its position, a position that baffles many researchers.
The fear of the unknown drives a grieving process that always begins with denial. And the denial is rampant on these questions.
Former astronaut Brian O'Leary is now an author and researcher. Stan McDaniel is a philosophy professor and the author of the McDaniel Report. Both agree that NASA's conventional explanation does not stand up to close scrutiny.
NASA lied about that particular area. For years, they had been telling people, researchers, interested parties, that they had other photographs that proved that the face was nothing more than a trick of light and shadow. And just recently, in this past year, that's been proven to be false. They have no such photos.
It looks like a face. It bewilders me how people can look at it and not experience this eerie feeling of my God, what is up there? What is it? To be able to say, oh, it must have been wind erosion, I think involves a lot of psychological denial.
Scientists know that there's something going on, but they don't want to let on there is, because if they do, the two things, peer pressure and funding, it can get you every time.
Russian scientists had shown interest in the face on Mars prior to their launch of their Phobos 1 and 2 probes in 1988. Although Phobos 1 suffered a technical glitch, Phobos 2 made it to Mars.
What appeared to happen was that the Phobos craft, according to the Soviets themselves, encountered, to use their words, something that should not have been there.
These black and white photographs were taken by Phobos 2. There appears to be a white object measuring over 15 miles in length situated near the craft.
What the Russians then said happened was this craft or object pointed itself toward the Phobos probe, and their probe disappeared.
Some believe this probe was deliberately destroyed. To them, the face on Mars might be a warning to stay away. Others theorize it's some sort of lure to attract visitors. The only way to learn the truth is to return to Mars and see this alleged face with human eyes.
This should tell the public, hey, look, we're finding all of this evidence that just suggests that maybe there may have been life on Mars. Shouldn't we take a look? Yes, we should.
That's why we have a space program in the first place. We realize that some of what we need to know is out there, and we can't put our blinders on and only be after certain kinds of knowledge out there. We've got to be open to whatever